but good morning. I'm Maria Hayton, Funding Officer here at SAVS, and I'm joined this morning by my colleague Jamie Langstone, the Sector and Partnership Manager. And welcome to our Meet the Funder with Nigel Gaynor from ROSCA Trust. It's an absolute delight to be able to put funders in contact to talk to you directly, so you can hear more about the organisation, about their criteria, and ask any questions of them one-to-one. So do feel free to put questions in the chat, and we can go through those at the end of the session. So it's a simple process of having listening to Nigel and hearing from him about the fund, and then the opportunity for Q&A afterwards. So I will hand you over to Nigel.
Good morning, everybody. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Right, I assume so. Right, I'm a trustee of the ROSCA Trust. Now, the first question that everyone asks is, why is it called ROSCA? Well, the trust was set up in 1966 by a William Oscar Thorby, a local builder in Southend on Sea, and his middle name being Oscar, he took the R from the end and put it at the front. So Oscar became ROSCA. It's as easy as that. He set the trust up in order to help particularly new startup charities. Jamie, can you move your screen up so we can see the text? There we are. Right. I can still only see half of it, but maybe there we are. The prime reason for ROSCA's being is to help the local community, in particular the groups that are mentioned in our opening page. We do not like to support groups where they are outside of the local community. So the one criteria that you must all be aware of is that ROSCA will not make a grant unless the monies from that grant are likely to be spent within the local authority areas of Southend on Sea, Rochford or Castle Point. It's no use someone applying to spend monies outside of that region, because your application will just be refused. Likewise, we do not support individuals. It has to be either a registered charity or a charitably incorporated company. And for that, we usually see the CIC or charity number, because we always examine the Charities Commission records. There is no set criteria as to what type of grant we will make, but the trustees prefer not to make grants towards operational costs. By operational costs, I mean things like salaries. And the reason for that is because the trust would not want to be put in a position where we gave a grant one year which funded a salary or a consultant, and then we refused the next year, so that person was then out of work. So we do not support that type of grant. Anything else is really okay. The ones we prefer to see are applications for specific projects. Jamie, can you have the next screen, please? About us. Is Jamie listening? Hello? Yeah. Right. Now, again, I can only see half of the screen, but I assume that you can all see the whole of the screen. The screen you're looking at is from our website. So if you have any queries, you want to go back on anything, the website address is www.roscatrust, all one word, .org.uk. Okay, so if you need to go through any pages that you're not seeing at the moment. As I was saying, that the type of grant application that trustees prefer is a specific project, such as we need to provide disabled toilet facilities within our premises, or we need to enhance the local garden centre for disabled residents, etc. What we don't like to see is items where it says that you wish to put on a new course, run a course for individuals, where the prime reason for your budget that you submit to us is the cost of your trainees, your trainers. Because we will pay normally for all the materials that is needed for the course, but we would rather not have to support the cost of the trainer themselves. Premises costs are fine, but for the reasons, as I said, we don't want to put anybody out of work at the end of a grant period. The one requirement that most people usually forget, and it's actually in the how to apply page. Jamie, if you could go to how to apply. All of the considerations that we have, that we require, are in that one page. And it tells you there that we meet only 3 times a year. The next meeting will be in January 2025. And any applications for that meeting need to be received by post, preferably not email, because we don't want to print off. There's 5 trustees, and we don't want to print off a copy of a 20-page document for each of 5 trustees. So you send one paper copy, which we can photostat if necessary. The applications come in writing to the address shown on that screen, 1 Moden Thorpe Bay, and they must include, and this is where some applicants come unstuck, they must include the contact details, because how are we going to tell you if you've had a successful grant if you don't tell us how to contact you? All right, so an application should be followed by a contact name, postal address, phone number, and email address. It also, in the event that you have a successful grant application, we need to see your bank account details. Now, don't want to see your bank statement. What we want to see is your sorting code and account number, because all payments made by ROSCA Trust are made by interbank transfers. The final thing, which again people come unstuck with, is the organisation's latest balance sheet. We don't want to see a 20-30 page document of the last report of directors, etc., that's been sent to the Charities Commission. We want to see just the balance sheet. And the reason for that is we like to see how much you're holding in unrestricted reserves. All right? It may well be that if you have a huge amount of unrestricted reserves, as we have seen in some instances, people holding over £2 million in unrestricted reserves, the chances of them getting a grant from the ROSCA Trust are pretty low. I hope that makes it clear to you all. I think that probably the easiest way now is to, if you have a specific need for a grant, to apply for a grant, if you want to run past me in the chat group the actual purpose for your application, I can give you an idea of whether the trustees are likely to look favourably on that. The contact details for us are on the previous page to this. Which again says they should only be submitted by post. Please do. And just a courteous reminder, please put stamps on your postal application. We do not accept postal packets where insufficient postage has been paid. We send them back to the post office to return to the sender. And sometimes that means that you are then outside the closing date for applications, as has happened recently. All right. Okay. I think that's all I can tell you about ROSCA Trust. But as I say, if you wish to put in your chat or send privately a message to me detailing what it is you require your grant for, I can give you some indication as to whether you're likely to succeed. If you prefer to do it while everyone else can hear, that's fine too. I'm still listening.
Thank you ever so much, Nigel. Something I would like to clarify. I know you mentioned registered charities and community interest companies. Am I right that you do accept applications from constituted groups?
It depends on how they're constituted, Maria.
Okay.
They must have, if they've got a constitution, then if they send us a copy of that, which proves that they are there for charitable purposes, then that's likely to be acceptable.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
If you want to be absolutely certain, then make yourself a CIC or a registered charity.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Nigel? There's nothing in the chat at the moment. That's good. We've got feedback that it was all very clear and no questions. Thank you, Michelle.
Has anyone listening actually applied for a grant from the ROSCA Trust in the past? And if so, were you successful?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
If that's Mr. King, I can hear you.
Oh, right, yes. Yes, thank you. I can't see you, but and I don't know whether you can see me, but anyway. Yes, I'm Stephen King, representing the Southend Boys Choir and Southend Girls Choir. We did apply for a grant. We've had 2 successful grant applications from you in a few years ago, and another one which wasn't successful subsequently. So I'm sorry I missed the beginning of your chat when you were heard to say that's about all I can tell you about the ROSCA Trust. I obviously missed that. I thought it started at 10:15, but anyway. Yes, if I've missed this, apologies, but can you just say, would something like the Southend Boys and Girls Choir fit into your grants program? And we don't charge an admission fee so that people who are less able to afford to belong to the choir can do so. And it gives many valuable opportunities for young people, especially firstly at a time when music education in schools is under threat. And secondly, we saw this particularly during the pandemic, that music has a very beneficial effect on children's mental health. Would we be the sort of organisation you might consider?
The organisation is fine. I take it that you're not either a CIC or a registered charity.
We are a registered charity, yes, a CIO.
Right, okay, then you qualify in that regard. What would be the purpose of your grant application? What would be looking for funding for?
Well, some charitable trusts give grants to help with core costs. Others go for specific projects. Do you have a preference in that regard?
Yes, as I explained earlier, we look at core costs as a much lesser extent than project costs. We much prefer a specific project.
Okay, that's fine. Well, at least know what could or couldn't apply for, because obviously preparing a grant application takes a lot of work, and if we're not going to get anywhere, it's not the most productive thing to do. But if you prefer project,
there's nothing to stop you applying for anything, including operational costs. What I'm saying is the trustees give greater preference to specific projects rather than operational cost applications.
That's absolutely fine, and now I know that. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Stephen. Does
Okay,
anyone
that's fine,
else have
thank you.
any questions?
A question from Shelley. You are a national charity. The main thing is, as I said right at the beginning, any grant monies that we make must be spent within the local authority areas. You can be a national charity as long as the grant monies are spent within our area.
And that's what I manage the local area, which is the SS postcode, so Southend, Rochford, etc. And it's divided into branches, so we would manage just stuff within that local area.
It has to be more specific than that, because SS also covers Basildon, and we do not make
Yes,
grants
it does. So we get clients in from all of those areas. So I guess we could only use that specific money for clients that were within Southend or Rochford or Castle Point.
Exactly. Not just SS, they have to be more specific.
Okay, thank you.
Has anyone else either made an application to ROSCA?
I'm looking at a question here from, it's gone, where is it? From Mark Christie. You're looking for funding for transport costs for volunteers?
No. I've just literally popped onto the meetings. I thought it'd be good idea to introduce myself, just what I do. That just wanted to sort of highlight what I do with different organisations, because it maybe they're after funding for transport costs.
Well, we do fund one particular transport organisation, which is the Castle Point Social Care Car Scheme, which I believe use minibuses, which we have helped with grants in the past.
Yeah, this is more about where I can help the organisations that are actually on the call. So if they're applying for funding for a particular programme or something, and they are looking to fund transport costs, I can work with them to potentially save them some money and a lot of admin time.
Right, so you would not be looking for any money from ROSCA then?
No, it's more of a case of, hi, I'm here.
Right, okay, so you're another grant maker.
Yeah, so so if someone's got a grant for a particular programme and they're looking to fund the transport, just get in contact and we can have a chat about where we could potentially save you some money, and also a lot of admin time as well. And obviously it will help sort of reduce social isolation in some cases. Lots of different things we can do. So just as a hi and an introduction.
That's great. We can certainly follow up with you after this event. Thank you very much, Mark.
All right, no problem at all. Thank you.
There's a question from Holly. Good morning. How soon before the trustee meetings do you need the applications?
Right, well, as soon as possible before the meeting. The next meeting is January, but whatever happens, it must be with me by the 31st of December. We never have a standard day of the month in which to have our meeting. So sometimes it's at the beginning of the month, so the beginning of January, and other times it might be, because of availability of trustees, it might be the end of the month. So it must be with us by the end of the previous month, but as soon as possible.
Lovely, thank you. I hope that helps, Holly. Amber says, how much are ROSCA Trust likely to fund?
We will fund normally up to £5,000 and we only make one grant to an organisation in any 12-month period. So if it comes out in January 2026 and you had one in 25, then that's okay. But if you had one in September 25, you would not be able to apply for another one in January 26.
That makes sense, thank you. Is feedback given if an application is unsuccessful?
Not normally, no, because we would normally expect that all our how to apply conditions have been applied for, and what we detail on the website exactly what type of application. So the usual response when we decline a transaction is because basically we've run out of funds. We grant about between 30 and 60,000 pounds at each meeting, but obviously there's a limit to how much we can spend, and at the moment, and since COVID, we are receiving an increased number of applications for grant monies. So what we like to do is to spread a lot around a few different charities, different organisations, rather than give huge chunks of, say, £5,000 each maximum to six or a dozen charities. We would prefer to give a contribution towards the costs. So that's why we prefer to see a proper budget for the project that you have in mind. So we can see, well, we can finance this aspect of it or that aspect of it towards the total cost of your project.
I hope that helps. Thank you very much, Nigel. An organisation has received a second grant from you and says thank you. Is there a maximum to how many times you will support an organisation, or can they just use the 12-month?
Yeah, just the 12 month is the only rule. You can apply it once in every 12 months. So if you had a grant in September this year, you can apply again to September next year.
I hope that helps, Michelle. And what is the process once the grant is received, and is there an evaluation process?
Do you mean once the grant has been received by the organisation? We don't require feedback from the organisation about how they've spent the money. We don't require a feedback from that. Neither do we seek an acknowledgement in anybody's own publicity material.
Can I just ask a quick question on that?
Yeah.
If you don't require acknowledgement, well, that's one matter, but presumably you wouldn't mind if we did give it to you.
No, people do send us reports normally of how successful their project has been, and for that we're grateful, but it's not essential.
All right, so you don't solicit them, but you're grateful if they are right.
Yes, we wouldn't refuse to take an acknowledgement from somebody.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you very much. Any other questions or feedback?
I see someone's only just joined us, Elaine Cornwall. She'll presumably have to rely on the recording version.
Hi, yeah, I'm so sorry. My link wouldn't work, and I've just had it re-emailed to me just now, so I'm so sorry about that. Yes, I would love to watch back if that's okay. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Do you have any specific questions that you were going to put to me for ROSCA?
My mind's kind of blown now a little bit. I think I need to just listen back, and then could I maybe email you?
Yes, you can. There's a contact page on our website. You use that, send a request in, and I will reply to you.
Thank you very much.
Apologies to anyone that did experience technical difficulties connecting to the event, and like I say, it is being recorded, so we'll happily share that with you.
Thank you.
Sorry, could I just ask one more question? Going back to the giving a grant for project costs, does it help you, and indeed the organisation, if we were to contact you first and give you an outline of the proposed project and then say, is this something you could consider? And then if you say, yes, we could think about that, then we can do a proper grant application. Or do you just require a proper grant application from the word go?
There is no facility for the trustees to meet between meetings. So if you submit a proposed application, the only person who will be seeing it will be me.
Okay.
And that would not give you a positive one way or the other until I've sent it to all the other charity trustees.
Okay.
It's really, if there's something that you're not sure about, by all means ask a question, but I wouldn't want you spending a lot of time building an application which was in principle only for me to then to throw all that out.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Okay. There's nothing else in the chat at the moment.
Does Mr. Sood have any questions for us? You're muted at the moment.
Okay, let me see if I can unmute.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go.
Maybe
yes,
later on, I'll have to consult with my working committee to find out if we are eligible for the grant. And then I'll make an application.
Okay. Well, you're certainly eligible as long as you meet the criteria of the trust. We don't, and the monies are going to be spent within the local authority areas. And it's preferably a specific project rather than an ongoing commitment.
Yeah, it will be a specific project.
Then that normally would fit well into our criteria.
Is for the welfare of the senior people of the community.
When you say the welfare, how are you looking to finance the welfare?
Well, to raise the funds, to get the grant, to receive the grant. And
yes, but what would you spend the grant on?
Facilitate them to meet once or twice a week and do socialization and exercises, health events, and general advice. Well,
we would not allow our grant monies to be given out to individuals as grant monies from us. But if you are putting on a project where people were meeting together, we could consider room costs, the venue hire, that sort of thing. Refreshments when you're at the meetings, that would be acceptable. But we would not look to finance anybody who's there to lead the event that you're holding.
Thanks very much for your clarification.
Hello, Shelley.
We have two elements of we make specialized equipment or bespoke equipment for disabled people when you can't buy it anywhere. I have two questions. One, money. We need money to actually buy the materials to make these specific pieces of equipment, so metal, wood, etc. The other thing that we're trying to look for money for is actually to raise awareness of our charity, because we could actually help a lot more people if people knew about us. They don't come to us and say, can you make this for me? Because they just don't know that REMAP exists. Okay. So they're two completely separate things that we're looking to raise money for. Are either or both of those acceptable to you?
Both of them could be acceptable. Certainly for the supply of materials, a grant for materials would be acceptable. You'd need to itemise exactly how much you were spending on the materials. As regards making the public aware of your charity, then we have often financed people to produce either a glossy leaflet or go to a website that built something like that. We call that a specific project, so that would be acceptable as well. So, you know, financing leaflets or an email, a social media campaign, that sort of thing, it is normally acceptable to us.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Nigel, thank you so much for your time and giving the opportunity to hear more about the organisation and your criteria, and for responding to all the questions. I did put the email address in the chat, so if you do need to contact them, it's roscatrust@gmail.com.
Yep.
And you'll be very welcome. Our next Meet the Funder event will be Thursday, the 24th of October, and that will be meeting with Essex Community Foundation. And once again, thank you so much, Nigel, for your time. Thank you all for attending and joining the event. You're welcome to contact us if you want to discuss anything, or if you want us to take a look at applications. Obviously, we don't represent the funder, so we are in no way guaranteeing or assuring you that an application that comes through us would be more likely to be successful when it reaches the funder, because obviously it does depend on the funds available and the range of applications they receive. But we're happy to take a look at and see if you are answering the questions that they need answering.
Okay, I wish you all the very best, and look forward to seeing your applications in due course.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.